And we're back. Man, I forgot to sync up the last video, so luckily it's probably a game that I can get relatively close at and not experience any sort of syncing issues, but this time we're definitely going to make sure that we sync up because this is a faster paced game. We're playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That should be sufficient. So you know we're gonna go with the purple and green to start off. I saw a video on YouTube that is like one life challenge, and the first thing he does is he gets run over by the steamroller. That's so funny. It's like a 10-second run through the game. If that. There's actually a trick for using Donatello. Alright, it's time to get in the zone, man. There's actually a trick for using Donatello at the end boss of level 1, which I'm not going to do because that's not the way I learned as a kid, and I'm sure everyone who does it only does it because that's what they did as a kid. Now, I'm not stressing about health at this point because and on the contrary, I don't find this to be cheap at all, what I'm about to do. Pizza. Pizza. The reason I don't find that cheap is because, number one, I highly doubt that it was an oversight. I'm sure this game was produced with the quickness because it has nothing to do with any incarnation of Tmnt, but I don't believe that respawning pizzas was an oversight. Number two, even if it was, this is the very beginning of the game. You know, sometimes you just have to get into the groove of a game. You might, as I did earlier, you might get hit a few times when you know you're better than that. So, if I can refill all of the turtles' health on literally the third manhole cover that I go through in the game, I don't feel any guilt over that. I don't consider it cheating, but if you do, you are at liberty to play with whatever rules you establish. See, in my opinion, I picked Donatello because of the purple and green. Even from a strategic positioning, he's obviously the choice character, choice turtle for the first level. So many characters are impossible to get past without getting hurt without Donatello. Now, there's a few enemies that it's better to have someone like Leonardo or Raph. The flying enemies come to mind. Most of these enemies, you want to have Donatello. His bow only goes in one direction. That's the drawback, and it's slower, but it's hella powerful compared to the other turtles. I'm actually not used to playing with him. Usually I play with Raphael because I'm hardcore like that. I wish I was doing the YouTube gaming thing back when they had the Red Swayze challenge because I wanted to get all over that. As a matter of fact, I still may do the Red Swayze challenge. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. Hell, I'll do a live if you want me to. I do have experience with live broadcasts. Never on YouTube, but in other fashions. I worked at a news station for, how long was it? It was, 2 years. Whew, finally a weapon. I always try to mix up the secondary weapons, because there's 4 of them, I believe, so I like to make sure that each turtle has a different one if I can. Sometimes, you know, you just screw up and grab the wrong one. That's a staple of old school NES platforms that I miss. I wish modern games would bring that back. It was cheap and frustrating, but it added a whole new level of strategy to a game that you just don't get I haven't seen since the NES games. Maybe, you know, there has been a retro revival of sorts, so maybe it has come back, but I haven't seen it. We're going to at least do the dam before we stop this session. Okay, so many people claim that this level coming up is legendary. I've heard TMNT be put on countless hardest NES games because of this water stage, and I wouldn't say it's an easy stage by any stretch of the imagination, but the difficulty involved is highly exaggerated in my case. I've heard people say that it's impossible to do without switching turtles, which I'll try, but you know, we'll see if I can accomplish that this time. But I've done it many times with one turtle. Many times with one turtle. I don't even really get stressed at all playing this level because I consider it to be fairly easy. I actually have to go up and down. I'm not sure if there's necessarily a better way to do it. I think I usually go down like I'm doing now and then go up. It's just a little too slow. But you know, this level taught me patience as a kid. There should be one more over here. Right? Yes. I'll go this way, because I hate that bottom path. At this point, it's looking doubtful if I'm going to make this through without changing turtles, but I think I'm showing that it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. We're still gonna try. Yeah, that's the part that everybody says it's impossible to get through. If I hadn't made those silly mistakes earlier, and if I wasn't rushing through it right then, you know, I could have done it. I've done it many times. It's just a matter of staying calm, which I should have done right there, because I'm doing fine on time. I'm in the last. I'm well within the last half of the stage. That's another spot that I usually get tripped up on. Now, I think there's 2 more bombs. Yeah, that's right, because I just paused it and April said 3. Shit. See, I'm also usually not talking while I'm playing. I'm usually concentrating. So see, I'm well within the time frame. Yeah, you don't want to touch that. That's a big no-no. Boom. Not that difficult, people. I always found that pose to be very funny. This cutscene is so cheesy. Just like, this is what I think of when I think of like old school Turtles. Why did Shredder always appear on the TV screen in video games? I mean, I know he did it a few times in the cartoon, but it wasn't like a signature for him like it was in the NES games. And I like how his his hand is coming off the screen. You know, that's such a nice over-the-top touch. Now, this level is pretty epic. It's not quite as big as it looks, but it is pretty big. First thing is you go into this building and you get missiles. Yeah, see, for flying characters, Wrath is usually the clear-cut winner. Trade-off is that he has very short range. You know, everybody had their own favorite turtle growing up, and mine always changed. I'm not sure if it was ever Leonardo. It might have been for a short amount of time when I was a simpleton, the age of 4 or 5, because, you know, I admired leadership and integrity back then. As I have come full circle, and now that I've gotten away from the sickness, the viruses of the world, and kind of gotten back to my roots, I've become a much more calm person as an adult, and I can kind of see having Leonardo as your favorite turtle because he's such a positive role model, and you know he's nothing but integrity, you know, true blue. But as a kid, my favorite turtle was usually Raphael. I think I identified with his struggle to control his temper, which that's my only real criticism about the cartoon, aside from the fact that it's hokey as all hell. You know, it's that Raphael he jumped the shark in the cartoon. He basically just became a slightly more sarcastic version of Michelangelo, you know, another goofball who said funny things. But that the genius of the Turtles is that their different personalities played off of each other so well. You know, they all had their own relationship with each other. That's where a lot of the magic was. And by changing such a gigantic part of one of their personalities, you change the paradigm of the turtle relationships. See, that's what I loved that about the 2007. It wasn't a reboot; it was technically a sequel, even though it presented itself as a reboot. But the CG, the computer animated one, it had Raphael and Leonardo actually coming into clashes with each other. Man, I hate that jump. Over leadership. You know, Raphael was a lone wolf, and Leonardo wanted to be the leader. He wanted to call the shots, even though he has no real authority to do so. And Raphael's the only one in the group who really questioned that. You know, his anger came from a place deep within. And I've always questioned that. I've always been that way. I've always questioned authority, and I've always struggled with anger. And I thought that made Raphael a much more interesting character in the iterations that they were allowed to do that with him. You know, because that's the way they, you know, in the cartoon theme song, Raphael is cool but rude. He wasn't really that rude in the cartoon. But yeah. Other times, you know, Donatello's been my favorite because of his nerdiness, and you can just walk across. Because of his nerdiness and all that, you know, because I've often identified as a nerd as well. And Michelangelo is just the guy that everyone wants to be best friends with. You know, he exists to be happy. And even in the face of certain death, he strives to always be happy. He never lets anything bring him down. And That's always been a good message, and I love that about him, and I love the fact that Michelangelo was usually people's favorites. That's, you know, that's how art changes the world for the better. I bet you never looked at Tmnt that deeply before. Yeah, I always let that guy run over me because it's just not worth a missile. At least not in my opinion. Because there's several of those barricades and I hate having to go back and get more missiles. Now, I believe there's a scroll in here somewhere. Yeah. There's something in the water, but I'm not comfortable going after that right now. Once I get to the spot where, oh, it's up there. Yeah, if I wanted to, I could actually go and trade in a turtle, because the spot where they're held hostage was back there. Oh wait, it's here. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I could have gone that way. So what I can do is I can let Leonardo get captured, and then I can rescue him without using a pizza. No, it wasn't there. Alright, so I'll go back. Now that I've sacrificed Leonardo, I pretty much have to. It's up there. Well, I'm just going to make it my priority to do this. Don't think I have enough missiles, because I'm pretty sure all the barricades responded. So I think he's in here. No, but I do need those. Yeah, you can actually go atop these two buildings. There's no reason to do it whatsoever. It's just a fun thing to do. There's Leonardo. I always appreciated that rescuing Leonardo gave you a different sound effect. So, I am not going to go back and get more missiles, especially because I don't think I have the time. So let's just see if we can get those scrolls real quick before I run out of time. I always pick the worst time for a beer break. Oh, and that's... I just now thought of that, you know, just this very second. The beer isn't supposed to be a nod to AVGN. Although, if it were, I would mean it in the best possible way. Because I love AVGN. As I said before, I'm a little socially awkward. So... I like mind-altering substances such as beer to kind of help me loosen up. More of the grappling hooks. Maybe that's what it is that's in here, although I was pretty certain that it was the scrolls. Yeah! Is that what they're called? Scrolls? I usually give them to Raph, because it's nice for him to have a powerful long-range attack to call upon. Which I'm pretty sure that, let's just take the easy way out.